Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another foundation first impression. I used to do these all the time. I feel like I really slacked off this year, so I'm gonna make an effort from now onwards to start reviewing more foundations, especially the new ones that are hitting the market. So today I do have a new one to Australia. I think you guys have had this one for a while in the US, so sorry if it's a bit like late to the bandwagon there, but here in Australia, we always get things about 2 or 3 months after you guys. So I'm going to be reviewing the Kat Von D True Portrait Liquid to Powder Foundation. I'm pretty sure this is just launched in Sephora, Australia. I'm very excited to try it out. The whole liquid to powder thing has got me intrigued. And I do actually like the Kat Von D Lock-It Foundation, which I also did a first impression on a while ago, like way back. I'll link that down below if you guys are interested, but you guys really liked that video, so I thought I would do a first impression on this one because Kat Von D is like one of those controversial brands. People love it, people hate it. I'm on the fence. To me, it's just makeup. And yeah, I've got the new foundation and I wanted to try it out. So as always, before I start a foundation review, I like to go onto the website and actually read up about the foundation just so that I know kind of like what the brand's point of view is with the foundation, and then I can base my review around that. So I'm on the Kat Von D website and it says here that the True Portrait Foundation is a lightweight medium coverage foundation in 40 vegan shades that won't clog pores. Its innovative liquid to powder foundation formula features exclusive elastic essence effect to flex with all of your expressions for a perfect skin look that moves with you. So in other words, it shouldn't crease. It says long lasting yet with an incredible weightless feel, this Kat Von D foundation sets to a beautiful long wear airy matte finish. Ideal for normal to oily skin types, it helps control shine so you can create the ideal canvas for any look every day. So let's give it a go. To keep it on brand today, I'm going to prime with the Kat Von D Lock-It Primer. I actually really like this primer. It's very hydrating on the skin. Also, don't mind my skin at the moment. I got back from New York a few days ago and I ate nothing but pasta while I was there, which was amazing. But this is what happens to my skin now when I eat gluten. It's fine. I'm like totally fine with it because the pasta was amazing and it was so worth it. But yeah, we're just dealing with like a few little old breakouts now. I think I'm actually going to put my hair up in a little headband to get it out of the way for this video. There we go. Now I look like a cute little kitty cat. All right, so I've got 3 shades in the foundation. I've got light 024, medium 027, and medium 030. So let's go smack bang in the middle and see how that is. Oh, the packaging's very cool. It's actually very sleek packaging, very different to the Lock-It packaging. The foundation comes in the same little bottle, so that would be like the comparison. They are both 30 mils. Yeah, they're both 30 mils, so it's a bit deceiving. You would think that this one has less in it, but it doesn't. I actually really like it. I think that's very, very cool. Please tell me it has a pump. Oh, okay. It's not a pump. It's like a squirty nozzle. So the little divots here are so that you can like squeeze the foundation out. That's very cool. I was not expecting that. So it also says on the website that you should apply it with your fingers. A little bit goes a long way and it's not recommended to use a makeup sponge. I don't think I'm going to apply it with my fingers. I'll probably use a brush instead, but that's interesting that it says to not use with a makeup sponge. And it also does say here on the website, if it looks watery, that means you've got to shake it some more. So I'm giving it a real good shake. It's very runny. Oh, why isn't it coming out? There we go. All right, I think I'm gonna use my Sigma 3D HD Kabuki brush to blend this in. I'll do one side of my face first so that we can see how even the coverage is and kind of compare it. Blending in pretty well with the brush. It was a bit streaky at the start, but the more I kind of pat it in and buff it out, it's looking pretty flawless. The shade's actually probably a little bit too light for me. I probably could have gone up, but that's okay. We'll make it work. I feel like I say this in every video. I never have the right foundation shade. I'm like, that's fine. We'll make it work. All right, so that is half my face done. It's definitely a little bit of a drier formula. Like I can kind of feel, it doesn't feel heavy on my skin, but it just feels a little bit dry. So I would definitely recommend like a super hydrating primer underneath. Up close around my cheeks here, it looks amazing, like around my pores and stuff. It has weirdly enough gone a little bit patchy and dry in this section up here, which might have just been like a super dry section on my skin already. So that's a little bit strange, but that's the only area that I can see on my face where it's done that. I think the coverage is actually pretty good. Like if you see the little bit of redness that I've got in my cheek here, and then how it's kind of neutralized that on this side, it's done a pretty good job. Let's finish off the other side and we'll see how it looks. You guys see what I mean by like once you blend it in, it goes a little bit streaky when you first apply it, but then as you kind of buff it in, I guess as well as it settles in with your skin, it just gets a little bit nicer. Because my first impression when I initially put it on, I was like, oh my god, is this going to blend? But the more buffing you do, the more natural it starts to look. Okay, for some reason it's still looking a little bit dry around this section of my forehead, but that honestly could just be like my skin, or I may have missed that little section with the primer. I'm not too sure, but it's only that section there that looks dry. The rest is looking pretty good, and it's again managed to cover up those breakouts pretty well, so I'm pretty happy with that. It's definitely matte, but I wouldn't say it's like a flat matte. It's kind of more of like a satiny finish. As I kind of move my skin, you can see a little bit of glow in it, like very subtle and very natural, but it's actually quite a pretty finish. Okay, so weirdly enough, I just went in with a little bit of extra foundation around my nose area because I felt like it just still looked a bit red and patchy over there. So I went in with a little bit more, and I am struggling to blend it, like really struggling. It's almost like the two layers of foundation are just sitting on top of each other and refuse to blend together. Like it's very strange. So I thought that was interesting to mention. Otherwise, it still looks pretty good everywhere else. I'm gonna do a close-up shot and show you guys so that you can see exactly what I'm looking at. So you can see around these breakouts, it's looking a little bit cakey, but I think that's honestly just because they are like really dry and kind of scabby at the moment, which sounds gross, but they're super old breakouts. So, and then it's just around this section here where I all of a sudden just feel really cakey, because that's where I applied the extra layer. So not sure if it's going to show up very well on camera. But then if you look at this section of my cheek here, like I feel like it just looks really flawless and quite natural. And then even on like the center of my forehead, it looks really natural too. But then you come up here and there's just a little bit of patchiness around some drier areas there. So, I mean, so far I feel like this has been a bit all over the place. That first initial layer that I put down looked really good. I should have done a close-up then to show you guys. But then that second layer that I applied just around like my nose section, it's just, yeah, it's doing some weird things. So I'm going to finish off my makeup and then I will check back in with you guys once my full face is done. I'm not too sure how long I'll wear it for today, but I'll try and keep it on for as long as possible. But yeah, very strange start. I really liked it in the beginning and it just kind of, yeah, started going downhill a little bit. So I'll keep you guys updated. I'll finish my makeup and then I'll come back and check in with you. Okay, I'm just jumping back on here quickly. I've just done my concealer and I just wanted to give you guys another little update. The concealer actually blended in pretty well, but that's because I kept the foundation kind of away from my under eyes. But it's blended okay into the foundation. It does look a little bit cakey over here now. It's honestly like the more layers you put over this foundation, the worse it looks. The other thing I wanted to note that literally in the last 5 minutes when I ended that clip, did my concealer, I looked back in the mirror and it has started drying so much around my chin area, like around these sections here. And I think it's that whole liquid to powder thing. And I think what I'm experiencing is like as the foundation is drying and settling into my skin, it's going to that powder form. But because potentially my skin just wasn't hydrated enough or I'm not oily enough for this foundation, it's starting to look really dry, which would explain why it looks okay up here because that's one of the oilier sections on my face. And then in the center of my forehead, again, is obviously an oilier section too. So I'm starting to figure it out. But yeah, I thought that was interesting to note. So anyways, I'm going to finish off my makeup now. And like I said, I'll come back in and check in with you guys once it's done. All right, so it has actually been about 2 hours since I applied the foundation. I had heaps of content to do like while I was applying makeup, if that makes sense. Anyways, it's been a lot longer than I thought it would. So it's been about 2 hours now, and I'm going to give you guys my first proper check-in. From the get-go, before I look in the mirror, it actually feels nice on my skin. Like, it does feel lightweight. I feel like it hasn't changed too much, honestly. The biggest changes I noticed were when I first applied it as it was drying, and then once it's dry, it's kind of just like maintained the same finish. So I'm still really, really dry around my forehead here. My cheeks are still looking pretty good, but like I said, I feel like that's kind of like one of the oilier sections of my face. So it does make sense that it would look a little bit better there. My chin is actually looking a little bit cakey and a little bit dry, particularly in the fold, which is a little bit weird. Overall, I feel like it does look pretty flawless. It's actually still sitting okay over my breakouts as well. A little bit dry, but like, there's not much you can do about that anyway. Even the most like oily foundation, I think, would sit a little bit dry over those. So I'm not too stressed. But yeah, it's definitely a drier foundation, that's for sure. I think this would actually look really good on someone with quite oily skin. I'm more like normal skin. I wouldn't even say I've got dry skin. So dry skin people, probably just stay away from this foundation altogether. It creased a little bit on my forehead when I was applying the rest of my makeup, but that seems to have settled now, which is interesting because they did mention on the website that elastic technology, was that what it was called? Let me double check. Yeah, so they called it the elastic essence effect to flex with all of your expressions. So I feel like that essence effect is actually working, which is interesting. I did have to set the foundation as well. I should note that. So because it's like a liquid to powder foundation, I think that's probably a question a lot of people would want answered, is like, did I still have to set it? For me, I did. I found that when I was touching my skin, it was still lifting up off my skin. So I still felt like I needed to set it in place with a powder before I could go over with my contour. Otherwise, I think it would have just like all lifted up, to be honest. So yeah, personally, I did still have to set it, which is fine. I set most of my foundations anyway. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this current check-in. I'm going to leave it for another few hours and give you one last final check-in before this video is done. Alrighty, so I look a little bit different to when I last did a check-in. I've been shooting some Christmassy content for a brand, hence all the red stuff. So we'll just ignore that for now. But basically, this is going to be my last check-in. It's now 6:30 at night. So the foundation has been on for about 7 or 8 hours. Honestly, not a whole lot has changed other than the fact that I myself have gotten a little bit oilier throughout the day. So some areas like around here that were looking quite cakey are actually looking a little bit better now that my like oil has come through, and it's kind of like hydrated the foundation again. So if anything, I think it looks better now than it did in my last check-in. But again, I still don't know if this is the type of foundation I would reach for in my collection, just because of how dry it looked in the beginning. Like, I would want it to look good for the whole day, not just for the 8th hour that I wear it. So all in all, I actually think it's quite a good foundation. I'm gonna insert close-up clips as I'm speaking, but I do think it's actually quite a good foundation. The coverage is really nice. It's stayed really even throughout the day. Like, it hasn't patched off or disappeared in any areas of my skin. It's lasted really well. Even with the powders on top, like the powders are holding really nicely on top. The blushes, the contour, everything looks really fresh still. I just think personally for me, it's probably not the most ideal foundation because of my skin type, but if you've got oily skin, you're probably going to love this foundation. It feels lightweight. It looks really flawless. You're pretty set if you've got oily skin. I think you would really like this. But anyways, I think that's pretty much it. I am starving. I haven't even had lunch. I've been so busy. So I am going to get going and have some dinner now. I hope you guys have enjoyed this review. If you have, please give the video a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel as well if you're new here and become a part of the family. I promise I don't always look this crazy at the end of my videos. But yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.